Crawford le ganó una vez y supo cómo ganarle, yo creo que puede ganarle nuevamente, ¿no?
Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting.
Antonio Margarito is breaking his silence, and he is leaving no doubt about where he stands. He has been vocal and direct with a stern warning for Canelo Alvarez regarding a showdown with Terence Crawford. Margarito knows the cost of war, and he sees something in this matchup that Canelo might be overlooking. This isn't just veteran advice, it's a brutal reality check. And according to the Tijuana Tornado, if Canelo ignores this warning, his legacy could be in serious danger.
That's the beautiful of the box.
Sí, la verdad que sí.
The core of Margarito's warning comes down to a terrifying concept for any boxer: being solved. In a recent interview that has been making rounds in the Spanish-speaking media, Margarito didn't mince words. He stated plainly that if Crawford beat Canelo once, he will beat him again. Only this time, it will be even easier.
Se están hablando de una revancha, yo creo que es más fácil le va a ganar a Canelo.
¿Oh, sí? ¿Por qué?
Yo lo creo. Pues digo, es el estilo de Crawford, ¿no? Yo creo que Canelo ya le gana a Crawford.
Sí. ¿Hay algo que puede ser Canelo para ganar o para hacer la pelea más cerrada?
Bueno, pues lo que todos sabemos, ¿no? Yo creo que a entrar al intercambio de golpes y pues tirar más golpes, ¿no? Pero digo, ahora sí que es boxeo y realmente pues se preparan ya. Si Crawford le ganó una vez y supo cómo ganarle, yo creo que puede ganarle nuevamente, ¿no? Pero digo, no hay nada escrito arriba del ring. Digo, puede ser que una buena estrategia de Canelo y pase diferente, ¿no? Pero realmente yo creo que, pues digo, trae ganas y trae hambre Crawford y digo, pues Canelo ya hizo lo suyo, digo, ya no es lo mismo, pero digo, con que aprender una buena pelea es más que suficiente.
This isn't just trash talk. It's a technical assessment from a veteran who understands the psychology of a counterpuncher. Margarito argues that Canelo's style, while powerful and explosive, is static. He doesn't change. Crawford, on the other hand, is a shapeshifter.
Sí, mira, realmente yo siempre lo he dicho, ¿no? Realmente, mira, yo siempre lo dije que Canelo, pues aprendió mucho y la verdad, digo, mis respetos, ¿no? Pero creo yo, sinceramente, pues que Canelo realmente, pues escogían rivales para poder que se viera ganador de él. Yo sé que arriba del ring no sabemos qué pueda pasar, ¿no? Pero realmente yo creo que no peleó con los mejores para mí, ¿no? Y realmente yo creo que Crawford, pues tenía el estilo para ganarle. Y sinceramente me han preguntado, y yo pienso realmente que en una revancha le gana más fácil Crawford a Canelo. Digo, desgraciadamente, pues es mexicano, ¿no? Y haz de cuenta, a veces pues tengo problemas con los mexicanos, pero realmente es lo que yo pienso, ¿no? Del boxeo de Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo is a good fighter and he learned a lot. I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but I knew Crawford was going to win, and I was going for the Mexican because I'm Mexican, of course, but Canelo used to choose his fighters, but this time he couldn't do that.
The danger here is that Crawford has every single piece of data on Canelo Alvarez. He knows the timing of the left hook, he knows the rhythm of the high guard, and he knows exactly how to neutralize the power that Canelo relies on. Margarito points out that in a rematch, Canelo would be an open book. The element of surprise is completely gone. While Canelo is in the gym trying to sharpen his tools, Crawford is likely already 10 steps ahead, planning traps for punches Canelo hasn't even thrown yet.
In the rematch, he thinks Crawford can beat him easier, huh?
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier for Crawford to beat him.
Yeah, ¿y qué hace Canelo? ¿Para dónde va de esto? Dice supuestamente él que está negociando la revancha con Crawford, pero usted está diciendo que usted cree que se le hace más fácil a Crawford la revancha, pero si usted fuera Canelo, ¿qué consejo le daría?
Bueno, no, pues realmente digo, lógicamente es dinero, ¿no? O sea, lógicamente le van a pagar súper bien. Digo, pues yo creo que hasta yo me la aventaría, ¿no? Pero yo simplemente estoy hablando del boxeo, que yo creo que le va a volver a ganar Crawford, ¿no? Es mi forma de pensar y de ver las cosas. Pero digo, pues bien por ellos, ¿no? Realmente digo, pues es dinero que puede ganar y ahora sí que pues por todo lo que se ha esforzado Canelo, pues ¿por qué no?
I think Canelo is going for the money. I would also do that, but I think Canelo deserves the revenge.
We all know that Canelo first loved to land left hooks.
his percentage with, against Crawford of landing left hooks was very low, and it's because Crawford did one of my favorite sequence defense. If you're going to the right side, be humble enough to answer the phone, have your right hand up. Every time he had his right hand up going to his right side, Canelo missed every hook because Crawford had his right hand up, what we call in boxing, having your right hand on the phone to block left hooks while you're going out to your right side. He does it again as Crawford was giving good lateral movement. This time he switched the sequence, which is very imperative. He switched the sequence of defense and started to go under. So not only was he catching shots, answering the phone, but he switched the defense from catching shots to going under. And this is something that was very, very hard for Canelo to land. His Canelo best shots wasn't able to land because of Crawford giving him different type sequence with defense, catching and getting under, left hooks and right hands. And it's not because he's not missing these shots on purpose. Canelo is used to people standing in front of him, giving him a high guard so he could play rock'em sock'em. Here you can see again, Terence Crawford is not doing that. He kept his right hand up on the phone, especially going to the right side. One of my favorite sequences from any fighter. Crawford really did a masterclass with it here. What did he do? He used a probing jab, not an intentful jab. This jab is basically to say, get out my face, stay out my face until I'm ready to do what I'm ready to do for you. Crawford did this very well. It kind of reminded me of what Pernell Whitaker did against Julio Cesar Chavez.
So, if the danger is this obvious, why is Canelo seemingly obsessed with running it back? The answer lies in the robbery narrative that his team is clinging to. When the decision was read in September, the scores were shockingly close, 116 to 112 on one card and a razor-thin 115 to 113 on the other two.
He didn't even try. The thing is that what we've seen with, he's Mexican. What we've seen with Mexican fighters like Chavez, who was having a hard time against Mayweather. Chavez, who was having a hard time against Meldrick Taylor. But he kept going, he kept trying and, missing, getting hit, whatever, but he kept going, cutting the ring. He had that mentality, that heart of a warrior. Barrera did it a few times. Morales did it a few times. Just to mention those. Marquez coming from behind, or a very close, tough fight against Pitbull, Diaz, Juan, what do they call him?
Baby Bull.
The Baby Bull. I said Pitbull. Baby Bull. But, never gave up, kept going, kept doing it. That's what Canelo missed, man. Even if he would have lost, but never changed the game plan, never tried anything different. Always kept the same rhythm, even though he was losing, still looking for that left to the body with no, from far, opening up, keeping his chin up. He's never been in those situations, so maybe that hurt him.
If you only looked at the numbers, you'd think the fight was a toss-up, a battle that could have gone either way. But anyone who watched the fight with their own eyes knows that those numbers were a mirage. Crawford dominated the pace, controlled the distance, and made Canelo miss in ways we haven't seen since the Mayweather fight.
You could take a guy like Canelo, this guy could do, he can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting our fighters.
This is the trap. Canelo looks at those scorecards and thinks, I only need to win 1 or 2 more rounds. It's a false hope. He believes that a slightly more aggressive camp or a few more body shots will flip the script. Robert Garcia also seems to share the same opinion. He has claimed that if Canelo changes his trainer and learns some new moves, he might defeat Crawford in a rematch.
He needs to make a change, I think. I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
But experts warn that those friendly scorecards were a gift, not a reflection of reality. By banking on the idea that the first fight was close, Canelo is ignoring the fact that Crawford was essentially in cruise control for the late rounds. History has a funny way of repeating itself, and we are seeing a disturbing parallel to Canelo's first major loss against Floyd Mayweather over a decade ago. Back then, the excuse was youth. Canelo and his team claimed he was too green, too inexperienced to deal with a master like Floyd.
When I fought with Floyd, I was 23. I always think I need to fight first with Coro, Lara, and then Floyd, but that's what it is.
So you think at 23, you think it was kind of premature, right?
I need more experience, more mature.
They promised that a prime Canelo would destroy that version of Mayweather. Well, here we are in 2025. Canelo is in his prime, arguably the most experienced fighter on the planet, and the result was exactly the same. He was outboxed, outthought, and neutralized. Now the excuses have shifted. Instead of being too young, the narrative is that Canelo is worn down or that the weight cut was different. It's a cycle of denial.
You know, he has done so much in boxing that it will be hard for somebody else to achieve and make. He trained hard, you know, and he said that he tried, but the body did not respond. And I've been saying that, you know, the body is worn out, you know. Canelo is young, but in boxing life, he's worn out.
He doesn't look, and a lot of people will say it's because Terence looks really strong, and the two things can be true at the same time, guys. Terence Crawford looked fantastic, and Canelo didn't look as strong as but even that version of Canelo is still world title, you know, world class.
The commentary surrounding this rematch highlights a brutal truth. This isn't about age, and it isn't about camps. It is about a fundamental skill gap. Just like he couldn't hit Mayweather because he couldn't see the openings, he can't hit Crawford because the openings don't exist. Margarito's warning echoes what we saw against Bivol too. Canelo struggles against elite movers who don't fear his power. Expecting that to change in a rematch is like expecting gravity to stop working just because you really want to fly.
I mean, you fought Floyd Mayweather at what? You're 23?
23.
That's so fucking young.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I trained so hard, and now obviously I try to beat him because, you know, if you beat him, you want to be the best in the world at 23.
What do you think was so impressive about him?
His experience, he's so smart. He have everything in a fighter, a complete fighter. He don't have power in the punches, but when you that kind of fighter, you don't need it.
You think that was the toughest fight you faced?
No.
What do you think?
I think it's tough fights and difficult fights. That was a difficult fight.
There is also a massive shift in the boardroom that Canelo might not be ready for. Analysts are questioning his true motivation here. Is this really about legacy and redemption? Or is Canelo Alvarez, the savvy businessman, realizing that his days at the top are numbered and looking to secure one last 9-figure check before the inevitable decline sets in? If he takes this fight, he isn't just risking a loss, he's risking being treated like a B-side opponent in his own division, fighting for a paycheck against a man who has already taken his belts.
The highly anticipated boxing matchup has fans divided. Some see it as a money-making opportunity, with Canelo potentially earning $150 million. But Crawford is jumping up 3 weight classes for a shot at the undisputed super middleweight title, with no warm-up fights. Critics argue it's more exhibition than competition. However, the chance to see 2 of boxing's best go head-to-head is undeniably exciting. While other options like Benavidez or a Bivol rematch were available, this matchup is breaking barriers. Ultimately, it's up to fans to decide if it's about cementing legacies or just cashing in. Regardless, the September 13th showdown promises to be an epic event in boxing history.
If you look at social media, the fan base is torn in a way that creates a dangerous echo chamber for the Mexican superstar. On one side, you have the die-hard loyalists claiming the first fight was rigged, or that Canelo was sick, injured, or compromised. These fans are fueling the fire, demanding a rematch to set the record straight. But step outside that bubble, and the sentiment is brutal. The betting markets, usually the most honest indicator of reality, are already writing Canelo off completely. The odds for a rematch are opening significantly wider than the first fight. The general public seems to have accepted. The torch has been passed. Comments on platforms like X and Reddit are filled with people mocking the idea of a second fight, calling it a cash grab, and predicting that Crawford will stop Canelo inside 10 rounds this time. The betting slips from the first fight showed huge wins for those who bet against the fiery redhead, and the smart money says the second time won't even be competitive.
What happened with the raps, and it's funny because I know Capetillo myself, So basically, they put the little knuckle pads in there and make them hard. And what his thing to Margarito and all of them was, it's going to protect your hands so you can punch as hard as you want to, as long as you want to, and you'll never break your hands, ever. So he's promoting himself as being a great hand rapper that you never hurt your hands. Yeah, of course you never hurt your hands, but you breaking everybody's eye socket and stuff. So yeah, so that's why he got caught doing what he was normally doing.
Do you think he was using them against Cotto?
Probably. A lot of sparring partners tell me that they would, got fractured face and stuff like that when they was sparring with Margarito. So, that is that probably what was going on. So he just got caught red-handed doing it. And he was doing it so much where it was just normal for him to do that.
Antonio Margarito might be a controversial figure in boxing history, but his warning to Canelo Alvarez rings with a terrifying clarity. The element of surprise is gone. The size advantage proved useless. The judge's mercy that kept the scorecards close likely won't be there a second time. Canelo Alvarez has built a career on taking risks and daring to be great, but there is a fine line between bravery and foolishness.
I would like to see Canelo retire too. I don't think he will though. He's got a multi-fight deal with Turkey Al-Sheikh. It's a lot of money on the table, and he's a proud champion. So I could understand him not wanting to end on that note. But you can see Canelo getting older, and I'm not just talking about ring. I mean, you can see it in his face. For the Netflix special behind the scenes, you kind of see the age, you see the wear and tear. The man has been fighting as a professional since he was 15 years old.
20 years.
He's got over, it's a long time to be getting hit with 8-ounce and 10-ounce gloves. Even if you take it well, and oftentimes the guys that take it well, they show it more because I'm absorbing a lot of shots and you giving me praise for absorbing them shots, but them shots take a toll. I don't know how much longer he should keep fighting, and it's not because he can't fight anymore. He's still one of the best fighters in the world, but you get into the hunger conversation. You get into the total punishment that you got to add that stuff up when you start getting older. Like, okay, man, do I still need to do this? He doesn't need to do it other than just his love for it, because his mantra is no boxing, no life. So I don't know if he's going to be able to walk away right now. His legacy is secure. I think he's one of the greatest Mexican fighters that has ever done it. I think he's in the great category and conversation. We can break down a resume another day, but I think that given the way that he fought and given the way that he bowed out, I think you just got to just leave it right there and give him his respect. I would like to see him maybe take 1 or 2 more and call it a day, go enjoy the fruits of his labor.
If he signs that contract, he isn't just fighting Terence Crawford again, he is fighting the inevitable passage of time and the reality that there is always someone better. The question fans need to ask themselves isn't whether Canelo can win a rematch, but whether he can survive it without tarnishing the legend he spent 20 years building. Is he brave for stepping back into the fire, or is his ego about to lead him off a cliff?
When he fought Canelo and he was like standing right in front of Canelo and Canelo's just whiffing, it was a life lesson. And then you look at how good Canelo's head movement got after that fight when he realized it. I mean, my God, when he fought Danny Jacobs and Canelo's just standing right in front of him, bobbing. That's all what he learned from fighting Floyd.
So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.